Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we'll make a start. I think people might keep coming in, but let's make a start because I know we're all running a little late. So I'm Andrew Flynn from CV, Christian Vision. I was going to be co-presenting with Alwyn Daniel from India, but unfortunately he couldn't make the trip because his father is sick. So I'm afraid it's just me presenting on behalf of both of us. And we're going to be talking, or I'll be talking this morning about data and AI for mission effectiveness, and just giving some perspectives from our own organization on these topics. I really love this image, which a colleague made for me. We have a joke in our organization. We call each other out every time someone says data is the new oil. Have you heard that? So this was the prompt. A humorous scene showing a futuristic landscape where oil rigs are replaced with giant computer servers extracting data instead of oil. Sorry, I can't see, I need my glasses here. There we go. Workers wearing helmets and overalls are joyfully collecting streams of binary code, ones and zeros, flowing from pipelines where a giant sign reads, Data Field Number 5 in the background. Instead of oil tankers, drones and trucks are hauling glowing data barrels stacked high. The setting is bright and playful with a slight cartoonish style to emphasize the fun, absurd concept. And don't we feel that we're in this space so often these days? It's just a bit overwhelming. I'll try not to overwhelm today. Just talking about how CV uses data and AI in our mission of evangelism. So I'll quickly introduce our organization and then go through some of these ideas. And a case study, number 6 here, faith journey meta-analysis, and perhaps some time for questions at the end. I think we have 30 minutes. So I'll crack on. CV is a global internet evangelism organization. I'm from the United Kingdom, but we have about 380 staff in 40 countries. And our mission is to introduce people to Jesus and encourage them to become his true followers. This year we launched a new 5-year plan that we're really excited about, and it has 3 priorities which interlock. Impact, this is doing the mission, introducing people to Jesus, primarily among unreached people groups. But also impact because we want to activate Christians in reach places to use tools and strategies to become more confident in evangelism and be fruitful for the gospel in their own contexts. In innovation, which I'll talk a bit about today, and inspiring with stories about what God is doing in the world, what we're learning in our organization, and sharing that to encourage participation in God's work in the kingdom. So these are the things that we're excited about. I've been working for the organization for quite a long time, but in this role as Data Analytics Manager for a little over 10 years. And my colleague Alwyn has worked with me for also a little more than 10 years. He's based in Bangalore, India, and we work closely together looking after data and engineering and some aspects of innovation throughout our organization. So I said I've been doing this for about 10 years. In the beginning, when we started working with data, we transformed from broadcasting to online, and suddenly we were awash with data from the internet, and it was like the Wild West. So our first task was to try and tame that environment, to bring some standards, commonality. We built a data warehouse. We learned how to begin to extract actionable insights from that data. Moving forward, empowering our organization, I'll talk a bit about that in a moment, and now using data in a more sophisticated way for advanced analytics and harnessing AI as well to provide automation, of course, and incorporate a lot of those aspects into our missional products as well through innovation and the opportunities that provides. On data empowerment, we have 3 pillars. People, that is about growing the capacity of our people to be able to work well with data and technology. So we have a program of data literacy, which we involve all our staff in. Turns out that whatever anyone's role in our organization, they either generate, collect, or process data as a part of their daily job, even if they don't realize that's what they're doing. So we aim to help them be better and more comfortable at doing that. Technology is of course core to what we do, and I'll talk about our smart data platform as a key part of that in a moment. What if we could automatically discover where the data is and locate it, and automatically know what it represents and how we can take advantage of it in our mission? And that leads me to the 3rd pillar. Mission is about leveraging all that we have and all that we learn through data to provide insights that can inform strategy and ultimately inform decision-making to help us take next steps. So my world is wrapped up in this space, but I'll transition now to talk a little bit more about our technology platform for data, which I described as the smart data platform. So within our environment, we integrate hundreds of different data sources from our evangelistic initiatives, whether they're on social channels or through on-the-ground projects or from public sources and other proprietary sources that we have, many hundreds of sources which we ingest. It's structured data, nicely organized in tables. Some of it semi-structured with tags, perhaps JSON, that kind of structure. And a lot of it is unstructured data, so we deal with a lot of human interaction in the form of text and messaging and comments, and that's unstructured, and we want to be able to make sense of that to be able to process and then interact in ways that help people through conversational technology get to know Jesus and become his followers through faith journeys, for example. The other advantage of our platform is it provides a single source of truth because we ingest everything from everywhere, and that means that we can provide a unified global view for reporting and analytics and insights from scale that we're able to collect globally, more than any one part of our organization can do. I like this quote: "If your data lives in silos, your decisions will too." So we try and unify our data to avoid that siloing of not just our data, but parts of the organization as well. And then finally, data governance, we apply in our data for quality and compliance and other things as well. So the platform looks a little bit like this. It has at its core a data lake, which is on Amazon S3, and a data warehouse on Amazon Redshift. We ingest many sources with Data Slayer and Alteryx, particular tools, which we also use for ETL as well in that environment. And then we visualize for reporting through Power BI, Tableau, and other tools, which some of our analysts use, data science products, and so on through that. So the technology stack has those elements, and data governance as well. We have a tool called Overledge, which discovers, catalogs, provides a glossary for, establishes lineage, identifies PII, and enables us to manage our data securely, responsibly, in a compliant way as well. Okay, just a quick overview of some of our AI projects, which my colleague Alvin is responsible for at the moment. So one of these is a topic modeler to inform our marketing teams about trending topics in various platforms. It's a form of social listening, I guess. But what's trending in a particular place in different platforms, we overlay that with a model on felt needs. It's a BGEA model. And that enables us to produce relevant campaigns in a timely way that resonate with audiences because it relates to what they care about now. And we're able to introduce those themes in a way that can relate and they can understand and be responsive to. This is for seekers in unreached places and seekers who aren't actually seeking. They're not asking questions, and they're perhaps interrupted in their social feeds by our campaigns in a way that might pique their curiosity. We also have chat platforms for faith-based conversations, and this is often taken the form of experiments. So, for example, we asked a question, are seekers interested in having a conversation with a bot about faith? Are they more likely to open up to a bot than they might to a human? So we've done some experimentation around that through a bot called Ned. We've also developed in partnership with Dan Whitenack, who spoke earlier, an AI model for chat called Katekeo, which is a faith-based Q&A through a bot using Got Questions as the corpus for the knowledge base. That's been really interesting as well. Again, as an experiment, this is way before ChatGPT, of course. We learned an immense amount and built some capability through doing that work at an engineering level before you can just do these tools, use these tools as a consumer. And then we're also concerned in some of the LLMs about the liability towards hallucination and perhaps answers that we are concerned aren't sufficiently expressing a Christian worldview. We know that all of these models have some kind of bias. So we're looking too at either better training models to be able to answer from a Christian worldview or even developing our own so that we can be confident that when questions are asked, there's a response that we're comfortable with from a Christian point of view. I want to talk about a project we did last year, which we're calling the Faith Journey Meta-Analysis, and this was to analyze thousands of testimonies to see what we could learn about the steps that these people who were learning to follow Jesus had taken on their journey. So it's a kind of a deconstruction using AI. So the data sources in this project were testimonies that were gathered from CV websites, from reports from our pioneers and mission partners, and from our own internal channels on Teams and Slack, where we were reporting stories from our seekers. And the objective was to analyze pre- and post-salvation events to identify and classify common patterns in faith journeys, to map those pathways, the combinations, and the sequences of those events to see what we could learn. A faith journey we have defined as this: the spiritual pathway an individual undergoes from their initial encounter with the gospel to their growth and maturity as disciples. It's an idea that in this 5-year plan, CV is very much leaning into as a priority for our first impact objective, to share the gospel at such a scale that 1 million seekers are engaged in faith journeys at any given time. So we really want to be able to understand what seekers do on those faith journeys and how we can tailor them to be more and more effective. I've put up a QR code here. You can read more about this work on our CV platform. See our developer from Deep Space Robots, Rob, thank you for your work helping us build this site last year. It's a really rich platform full of insight and learning tools and strategies to help churches and ministries and innovation partners join and become more active in evangelism. So you can read more about what we've done in this project here. And if you're interested in partnering in this with us, with some of the testimonies that perhaps your organization has, that would be great to be able to build a richer data set here. Okay, I'll talk through this. So a testimony would typically be written up by someone. Hey, this seeker has come to faith, and it will be unstructured data. It will be some piece of text, a bit like this one, where they've described what has happened in this person's journey. So we want to be able to extract insights from this text, turn what's this raw text into structured data that we can then understand and begin to classify. So the steps through this were to first unify the data set, standardize the fields, move through. I'm actually going to go through each of these steps here until we get a final set of tagged events for each seeker class. So in the data preparation phase, we have the data in different sources. So first step is to unify that data and standardize the fields, join it all together into one data set. And because this is testimony data involving seekers in often sensitive places and pioneers working in sensitive places, we obviously don't want any PII to be sent to the models. So we extract that information with a Llama 2 model hosted locally, so that's not going anywhere, that information. And we use Llama 2 then to identify mentions of certain things, like the digital media platforms that the seeker may have encountered on their journey. And so we're able to identify and isolate those, along with PII. And then we... Sorry, I need a quick drink. Yeah, so where there are mentions of Facebook, we'll know that this seeker's journey was related to Facebook or it was related to WhatsApp and so on. And so we're able to provide a summary of each seeker based on the themes that they have. We used a Mixtral 8x7b model. Al wouldn't be able to tell you what that is. But we use that to summarize the text and to capture the key events which occur in each testimony. And then that would be subject to a manual validation to ensure the accuracy, relevance, context, and so on. This particular model was chosen after trying several, actually, but it turned out to be the best that was suited to this particular case. So we're able to pick out summaries of certain things, like pioneer contacted an unbelieving seeker, or shared the gospel with seeker, or the seeker felt burden lifted, and so on. And then we can do event clustering to model what are the topics, the key themes which are emerging from these summaries. And so the summarized key events are brought together in clusters, and then we are able to rename those to classify them in ways that are meaningful. So encounter the gospel, baptism, discipleship, and so on. These are meaningful steps in a faith journey now. So we go from seeker discovered Jesus on TikTok, or family discovered Christianity through Facebook page, or seeker watched Jesus movie, or family discovered Jesus through Facebook video. Content is summarized as viewed TV content online, and so on. And so we tag those events: encountered the gospel, baptism, discipleship, met pioneer. And these will be familiar terms in faith journeys because these typically represent progression in someone's journey, a milestone or a marker which is achieved. So we're able then to extract these events for this set of testimonies. And then apply tags to those. So we have a final data set where we've got the raw data of the testimony. This is the cool bit as well. We know, of course, the country of the seeker. We perhaps know their people group. We know the source of the data. And then we have a series of tagged events for that testimony. Because we've got the context of country, language, people group, we're also able to gain deeper insights into what different faith journeys look like for those different contexts. So we're then able to visualize this. This is in Power BI. There's an interactive Power BI visualization on the website through that link I shared. So you can have a play around this. Please remember, this isn't kind of final data. This is what we're learning. Take it in that way. But I hope you'll find this just interesting and perhaps even insightful in this early stage. So we're able to identify prevalence of certain events and the order in which they happen, and then begin to understand for this people group in this country, faith journeys tend to look like this, or perhaps it's different in a different context. That will enable our teams to begin to learn from this information and be able to craft and design faith journeys that are contextually relevant to particular people groups. And we have a ton of data to show that they are effective. We're able to analyze this in the visualization as well with decision tree pathways. So if this is the first event, then it's likely that this is the second and third event, and so on. And you can see the differences for different countries or different people groups through this model. So we are learning a ton of information through doing this, and it's really informing our decision-making as an organization, in particularly how we implement faith journeys. I'll finally talk a little about innovation and some of the activities our teams are involved in this space. One is about autonomy in chatbots. We're trying to ask a question: to what extent is it acceptable for a chatbot or an AI instrument to introduce someone to Jesus, or to pastor and disciple them? And what degree of autonomy are we comfortable with? So we're currently doing a series of experiments with different stages of autonomy, from the simplest, which is fully deterministic based on decision tree design, where the AI doesn't have any intelligence, it's predetermined, and the human has full agency, through to something that is completely open, and there's no human controlling the AI at that point. We don't know where that point is, but we want to gather some empirical data to try to understand that and then analyze that. We're also working intensively in machine translation capabilities in many, many languages. We currently have around 70 languages in our Impact Objective 1 towards unreached people. And we have an ambition over this 5-year plan to scale that to 500 languages, where we can translate and create through AI content and interactive experiences for seekers in their own language. AI governance is also an important topic in our innovation considerations, and we heard some really interesting things about that this morning. We work closely with Prediction Guard on that as well to ensure that we are behaving ethically in the way we work with AI, that we're respecting privacy, that we are not training with data that we shouldn't train with, and that we can be confident in the results that we get back. And we engage in lots of tests in that space as well. Finally, I just want to end with this, which is one of our values. We work in a world of tech, and the phrase data-driven is often used to describe what we do and how we work. But I wanted to share this just as I finished speaking, which is a really important value for us. We are spirit-led. We're not merely executors of well-laid plans. We're led by the Holy Spirit. Our strategies are informed by the best available information, yet our most critical guidance comes from Him. Our decisions rest on prayerful consideration and spiritual discernment, both corporately and individually. This last sentence is really cool. The work that He does through us flows from the work He is doing in us. And it's sobering for all of us who are working in this world to remember that without Him we can do nothing. And what we do is an expression of Him in us and working through us. And so we do well to remember that. So I'm going to end there. I've just whizzed through. I'm really sorry Alwyn couldn't have been here to have perhaps explained those innovation steps a bit more clearly. But I will do my best to answer any questions in the next few minutes. Thank you.
Yeah. This person approved it at this time, and maybe some other use case it's not approved for. After a certain time span, it's not approved.
Yeah, so it's a really important question. One of the questions we ask is about data. What is it? Where did it come from? That's the provenance. Who owns it? Who's responsible for it? With those three questions, you should have enough domain knowledge to know what it is you're dealing with here, what it represents, where it came from, what are its characteristics, and then you can apply the right governance principles to answer the next questions. One is about its quality, is it fit for use? And then the other is how should it be used, or how not should it be used? What rules need to be applied? Who can access it, and for what purposes? So we ask those questions from the data sources we have. Unless you can be confident that you know where it came from and who's responsible for it and what it represents and what are the appropriate use cases for it. Does it contain PII? Is it compliant in that regard as well? It's not really valuable, and so we need to be able to answer yes to all those questions before that data can be extracted for value. Yeah. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you on the value of data. My friends who are data scientists say bad data is worse than no data. So I'm working on a project with the Joshua Project. And when the Joshua Project is an aggregator of aggregated data. So how do you do data validation well so that you're not giving out bad, irrelevant, outdated data with regards to missions?
That's a really great question. It's something I care about a lot, like you. And we too use Joshua Project really intensively in our organization. I think trust is obviously really important in that. And if you're working with aggregated data that comes to you and you don't know where it's come from or how it was compiled, it can sometimes be hard to trust it. So I'd encourage curiosity in trying to find out about data that you use that might be aggregated and from a public source. Where did it come from? what's its recency, what was the collection methodology around it, how is it curated and aggregated, so that you can understand it better. If it's understandable and if it's explainable, that's probably a better way to understand it than is it right or is it accurate. So a rule I apply in our organization is a better question than is it right, is it explainable? And so anything that my team works with, they need to be able to explain it. If they can't, then no one can trust it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not hearing very well. Sorry.
I thought the seeker journey mapping was really interesting work. What are some of your next steps? Can you elaborate on some of the next steps around
On the faith journey meta-analysis? Yeah. Yeah. So two things we want to do. One is to increase the amount of data that we have in that sample. So the set that we've worked with were pioneer curated testimonies. So there was always a human in the loop in those stories. But much of our evangelistic activity doesn't involve humans. It's deployed digitally without a human in the loop, or there may be bots or other AI involved. And we have a ton of testimonies derived from that environment as well that we'd like to put into this analysis. And we'd like to invite organizations to contribute testimonies from particular contexts, maybe faith backgrounds or languages or people groups that would have different characteristics in the testimonies to enhance the learning. So that's step one, increase the data set. And then secondly, through learning, we can create recommendation engines and other things. If you're going to be working with this people group in this country, it looks like these pathways are a prevalent pathway for those types of seeker. So then we'll share that learning with other missions and with churches and anyone interested in reaching those people. Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned how there's automated validation, several kind of validation right now. What are some metrics in terms of how much spirit-led component is in the analysis that
Metrics on how much
how valid their seeker's journey is, like how competent people are. And is there a spirit-led component?
Yeah. It's a really good question as well. So it's often difficult if technology is leading someone to Jesus and growing them as a disciple. How do we know that the Spirit is actually at work in their life, right? Because we impute meaning on certain actions that someone might take. I think it's really important to not overstate those events that may occur digitally, and ultimately we want to connect seekers to a human who will continue their journey in a fellowship or in a pastoral relationship. That might involve technology or it might be offline, but a pastor, a church planter, a pioneer, these are people who love no more than to disciple people. It's what they're good at, and they will know where someone is at spiritually. I think we can rely on the Lord to grow someone who is intent on seeking after him. We'll do our best to help point them in the right direction by giving them opportunities to grow. Whether they grow or not, I don't know if we can measure that. Some of you might have some good answers about how to do that, and I'd love to know about those. Because we want to learn as well. But yeah, through partnerships, through working with God's people, I think God can do his work, and we can trust him to do it well. One more here.
Thank you, an excellent talk, and I came in late and I missed it. With regards to someone's spiritual journey, what types of disclosures do you have? And if you also talk about anthropomorphization, because I keep hearing people just say AI versus Gen AI as a distinction in the architectures, and also the first page where you don't say anthropomorphism, what it is specifically, then through genuine consent you have to demonstrate it. So forgive me, are you doing that? How so?
Yes, so when someone enters a faith journey with us, if we're using AI in any extent, we will tell them that that's happening and have their consent to continue the conversation.
And do you address anthropomorphization or no?
No. I don't think we're deploying that to my knowledge at the moment. So these conversations are purely text-based in Messenger apps.
So there's no enter a prompt and then it says, it might use the pronoun I. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, it's great talk.
Thank you. I'll take one more, and then I think time's up, unless there are none.
Just real quick.
Okay, one more.
Have you come across any staggering insights about faith journey that perhaps weren't obvious?
It's hard to answer that. I don't know at the moment because we're learning a lot. But I would say that however we might design faith journeys, a seeker will do what they do, even if they go outside of our design. In the end, it's them who is on a journey to discover more about Jesus. And so we're keen to learn as much as we can about what that looks like for different seekers in different contexts. Our 5-year plan is new this year, and we've only got this model up and running since the middle of February, and actually I don't have any early learnings on that. We are constructing what we call a faith journey monitor, which is going to surface particular insights. And as with everything we're learning, we'll be sharing what we learn on our CV platform as well as a resource and tool for the church. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for coming.